of Program Pride. My name is Todd James.
And I'm Spinstergirl.
And today's show is sponsored by the letter P and Q.
And the color pink.
Well, we have a pretty exciting time.
Yeah. Hey, but first I want to ask you, how's Regis Philbin doing?
Oh, will you stop with this? I heard Kathy tried to run you over the other day.
Yeah, but I sent her on a carnival cruise and we're fine.
Oh, she probably cried and laughed and prayed the whole time.
Probably. Hallelujah.
We have quite the show this week.
It's busy. We should get started.
We should. Right at the top, I'd like to introduce our first guest. It's Charity Lavoucan.
Hello, Charity.
Charity is a two-spirited, up-and-coming pool player.
Up-and-coming? She's already a master at the age of 21.
So I heard,
yeah. So Charity, how did you get to be a master at the age of 21?
I went to an international championship in Las Vegas in June.
Wow.
And I competed in...
And how many people went? Were there a lot of competitors?
There were a lot of people from all over the world. We had actually quite a large group from Canada go down. Mostly, we had a lot of people from Edmonton and Calgary going.
Good.
Group.
And how did you place?
I played in the Women's Open 8-ball, and there were 361 women entered in that, and I placed second.
Wow.
Not bad, right?
Which
pretty incredible.
That placed you in Masters Division, is that right?
Yes.
And
yeah,
so
when you place in the top 4 in Vegas, you become a master.
Wow. And what does that mean? Do you get like a prize of some sort?
You mean for the tournament?
Yeah.
Yeah, I received $1,200 US for the tournament plus a trophy.
Wow,
so that was
good. Was it a neat trophy? Or?
Pardon me?
Was it a neat trophy?
Actually, it was very nice. It was a stone trophy, and there's a pool table etched right into stone. It's about this size, and it's very heavy. Dropped it on my foot on the way out of Vegas.
Maybe, I know we have some footage. Maybe we can show our viewers.
Okay. I think it's coming.
It's like waiting for Christmas.
Yeah, or waiting for Godot. My goodness.
Do you get presents when Godot comes?
I don't know, but you get, oh, here we go.
Oh.
Look at that technique.
Now, Charity, this is pool, often called billiards. Now, you said 8-ball competition. Exactly what is that?
8-ball is 15 balls in the rack. There's high ball and low ball.
Okay, so it's your standard pool
yes.
game. Okay.
The rules are a little bit different than regular bar pool.
And here's some shots of you looking fabulous.
Now, Charity, you were telling me earlier that you were playing with, you were paired with a fellow in a pool game?
Oh, yeah. How I won my trip to Vegas last year was playing Scotch doubles, which is a man and a woman playing together, and they alternate shots until they miss. Like, it's not like a regular pool game. Like, for instance, I would break, and then you would shoot. If I sank a ball, then you would shoot, and then you would sink a ball, and then I would shoot, and we would keep alternating until we missed. And then that's how the competition goes.
So, and one person gets knocked out, or they get knocked out then, is that?
No, we're, like you and I would be a team, shooting at high or low, whichever.
Okay.
And so right now you're saying you're practicing a lot. This is the first time you've actually practiced a lot, right? You're just naturally gifted and got to Vegas.
Yeah, right.
And so now you're practicing a lot to do what next?
To do what? I want to start playing in a lot more larger tournaments. I have been, Vegas was an international pool tournament. I played a tour, a pro tour tournament. I've also played at the Canadian Women's 9-Ball Championships. So what I want to do is I want to do a lot of practice so that I know the table really, really well, so I can compete in these larger tournaments and feel confident and feel good at the table and keep my game up and improve. I really want to improve this year. Because my goal is actually to work towards becoming a professional player.
I was just going to ask you that, yeah. So you're not professional yet, but...
No, still amateur, but...
Now, are you young compared to a lot of the people who are playing in the tournaments?
Actually, yeah. When I was in Vegas, I think that I was one of the youngest players that were there. As far as I know, I didn't meet anybody younger than myself.
But you're very accomplished for a 21-year-old. I mean, not just this pool, but as well, you were on a native newspaper called Straight Arrow?
Yes.
Yeah, you were involved in starting that?
Yes,
yeah.
On Vancouver Island, actually.
And what was that about?
Well, it was quite an interesting story how I got involved in it. I went to Vancouver Island, and the very first day I was there, I heard that a native man, was speaking about Native people and publishing and writing and stuff like that. So I wanted to go and meet him and talk with him and listen to him talk, because that was what I wanted to do with my writing. And I kind of walked in there half an hour late and left half an hour early, but I asked him as I was leaving for his phone number, and he got mine. And I settled in. 6 days later, I called him, and he let me know about this project that he wanted to start. And he had, he knew he had a lot of contacts. He had already been in the field a lot, like in the communications field. And he had a guy that was a salesperson for the advertising and stuff like that. And what they needed to start then was a writer. And so there was 3 of us, and he asked me to be involved with that. And so I said, absolutely.
Great.
It's great.
This is a good probably segue to the next part. When I introduce you as a two-spirited person. Maybe you could share a little bit with our listeners or our viewers out there what about two-spiritedness.
Okay, two-spirited. In different native languages, there's a word for gay. And roughly translated back to English, from these different languages, it roughly translates back to English as two-spirited. And I think the concept behind that, Native people have a belief that a gay person holds the male and the female essences within them.
And they were really respected in the past in communities. That's my understanding.
In some communities.
As mediators for conflicts between men and women in relationships. Is that right?
Yes, actually, I've heard that too. Talked about that before. In sort of in an advisory capacity, I guess, in counseling type thing.
Because they held both supposedly the masculine and feminine.
Right, so they could see both sides and, be the mediator. Yeah.
How's that changed now? In Native communities, are two-spirited people still fairly respected?
It has changed a little bit, of course, like with a mainstream society affecting, certain things. Exactly. And what we see, there are some problems. I know that a lot of young Native people that are coming out feel a lot, very bad about it, especially because the communities are so small and so close-knit. I think that there's, I know that there's a very high percentage rate of suicide within young Native youth, for sure. I've heard that.
You're 21. You've done all of these fabulous, amazing things. Do you have any type of guiding spirituality or something that pushes you on?
I pretty much follow some of the teachings that I've received from my elders, listening to the stories that my father tells me, and I really try to live the way that I see my grandparents living. I have a lot of respect for them, and they actually don't speak English. Okay. But living in the community and what I've learned there and what I've learned here and there on my path, learning lessons, I try and follow those things. I don't really, I'm not as much into my traditional Native spirituality as I would like to be. I don't attend sweats regularly, but I've been learning here and there more and more about the traditional ways.
Where is your community? You're based out of?
My community lives in Little Buffalo. I'm from the Lavoucan Lake Band and Lavoucan Lake Nation. And we're about 100 kilometers northeast of Peace River into the bush.
I was just going to ask about something, just
Go
slightly
ahead.
off topic, thanks. I also know that you write some poetry. How long have you been writing poetry?
I've been writing for a long time. I've been writing for almost 10 years regularly. So,
And where did that stem out of?
I think it had a lot to do with, I guess, the way that I was raised. I was raised my mother was a single parent, and we moved around a lot. And so a lot of times, instead of having a support network, what I would do is I would sit down and I would write. And it just started from there. And then first it was a journal, then it became poetry, and then became...
And has this been published? Can people access it anywhere?
My poetry itself hasn't been published. I did write some more non-journalistic style writing a couple of times in Straight Arrow, where it was more of my voice and it was more creative and more what I had to say and what I saw.
And if people are looking for it in back issues of Straight Arrow, your pseudonym was what? Bent Arrow? Was that it?
Right.
Well,
Yeah, that was my joking kind of name.
that's great. Well, we wish you a lot of luck. I mean, I think you won and you're just going straight to the top, so good luck. We're looking forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
Our next guest is almost a regular here on our program.
We loved her so much the last time we asked her to come back.
Bringing her back. Joy Decoteaux is a singer who has been busking around Calgary for 7 years. She has also been overseas busking.
Spent some time in Europe and,
Yeah.
and came back a few years ago.
Yeah. Her music she calls gay and lesbian hurrah music. God bless Julie Andrews. And I think today she's singing a piece. Let me just check. Goodness gracious! Don't say you've never known a queer, dear. Isn't that great?
It's catchy.
Yeah.
Let's give it a listen.
Okay, over to Joy.
I met a girl the other day, I really thought she was okay, I thought she had a brain. But something that she said to me made me want to disagree and ask her to explain. She said it's in the news again, an article on lesbians, they want to change the law. But how can a minority fight against authority with numbers so small? And I said, hey, don't say you've never known a queer, dear. Don't say you've never had one for a friend. 'Cause if you say it's true, I'm gonna stand in front of you and say, please look again, my friend. Hey, don't say you've never known a queer, dear. 'Cause you know you're gonna make me wanna shout, and I'll shout. Just take the time to free your mind, and then I know you're gonna find that we are all about. You know, I told her she should take a look at heroes in a history book and list whom she holds dear. And when she had it done, well, then I knew that I had won, 'cause the whole damn list was queer. Now Leonardo da Vinci, well, you know it was a sin. She was brilliant and a fag. When look at Mona Lisa, then you'll know that you've been fleeced, 'cause it's really him in drag. Well, it didn't seem to please her, knowing Plato, even Caesar, or Socrates as well. And she didn't even know about Michelangelo or Florence Nightingale. So I told her all about the other modern queers that she should recognize. And when I told her that her sister was a dyke, well, you should have seen her eyes. And I said, well, don't say you've never known a queer, dear. Don't say you've never had one for a friend. 'Cause if you say it's true, I'm gonna stand in front of you and say, please look again, my friend. Hey, don't say you've never known a queer, dear. 'Cause you know you're gonna make me wanna shout, and I'll shout. Just take the time to free your mind, and then I know you're gonna find that we are all about. One more time. Hey, don't say you've never known a queer, dear. That attitude offends. 'Cause if you say you've never known a queer, my dear, please tell me who I am. I'm your friend. Please tell me who I am.
Well, welcome back. That was Joy Decoteaux. Hoorah! That's quite the catchy tune. Thanks for tuning in. With us right now is someone else that you'll recognize from the last show. It's Lee Wegenast. And today, Lee is joining us to talk just a little bit about what's it like to be gay in Red Deer or gay in Central Alberta. Welcome back to Program Pride.
Thanks.
I guess I'd like to start out by asking kind of a general question. What's it like to be an openly gay man living in central Alberta?
For me, from experience, there's really been no problem. I had a bit of a problem one day, and 3 gentlemen in a truck with derogatory remarks, and I smiled, waved, and blew them a kiss and blew their minds and drove off. And that's about as far as it's ever got with me.
Combating homophobia through kisses. I love that. I love that.
It was effective, too.
How accessible is Red Deer to new people, say new gay people in the community? Are you fairly open?
Are you asking in the gay community itself?
Yeah,
or?
well, in the gay community first. Let's separate them and talk about the gay community first.
There are 3 main groups here, or 3 groups here. One is, and they are more of a social group. And
that's for Gaelic, that's an acronym, right?
It's an acronym.
Oh, okay. It'll be at the end of the show. Gays and lesbians in Central Alberta.
There we are. Thank you.
On to Final Jeopardy.
Suddenly lost it.
And 2 other groups.
In Just People, which is politically active, or we try to be. And then I guess the other one isn't a group, but there is a bar here too. And Gaelica and the bar can be accessed through, there's a phone line for Gaelica, and there is also an address.
Great. How about for new people, say, if my partner and I were to move to Red Deer or Central Alberta, would the community as a whole be fairly receptive to that?
Probably, yeah. As long as you don't advertise it and don't make a big spectacle of it, I think it can work quite well. Just move in and do what you would normally do.
Okay. For people who may live in Central Alberta, who are gay or lesbian and bisexual, what are some of the services that are available and programs for them?
Really, besides the 3 that I've mentioned, there isn't a lot. There is, in the process, a counseling or peer support network coming, but I don't know how far along it is or when it'll be ready.
Okay.
Red Deer is very much like a family. Once you get into it, there's a lot of people just kind of will take you under your wing or let you know of all the different things that are going on.
Great. One last comment. Any advice that you would give to someone who may be watching today and is thinking about possibly coming out?
Do it. Because it lifts a huge weight from your shoulders.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about what people are thinking, because if you come out to the point of being totally open, you don't care anymore. They can think what they like.
It's free then, it's happy. Well, thank you very much. This is Lee Wegenast, and thank you very much.
Treat me like that in public. Why do you talk to me like this all the time? What I get from you? See, every time I need you, this is what you do. Rule freak. It's no wonder I get so upset. Wendy, please. I really need you. I feel so alone. Well, I'm just really not into it tonight. Wendy, please. I promise we don't have to do anything. I never asked you to do anything for me. Please. I promise. Yeah, okay, babe.
That was a piece of a performance from Bruised, an evening of theater and discussion on violence in women's relationships, lesbian relationships. And I'm here with Snake, who was one of the performers in that piece. Congratulations. I heard that the evenings were very well attended.
They were, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think just from the piece that we saw, maybe you could explain a bit of the background of what Bruised is?
Sure. Well, what it came out of was an international women's exchange that was sponsored by Canada World Youth, and two of the members of that exchange were placed with the Gay and Lesbian Community Centre in Edmonton, and asked to do some sort of community development work. And what both of them, having a background in theater, what they decided to do was, rather than produce like a report that would go on a shelf and people could come in and read, they thought, no, let's do a piece. Let's do a theater piece that would reach out into the community and have some ongoing impact. So they decided to address the issue of violence within lesbian relationships, because it's sort of that last bastion of silence, the thing we just don't talk about, and it's not supposed to happen.
Of course, women aren't violent. So
well,
there's no
absolutely,
aggression,
that's right. So, so that was the topic that they chose, and their names were Jessica Wood and Lisa Allen Agostini, and they did gobs of research in about a month. Doing interviews with women from Edmonton and area, and tons of research, gathering women's stories, basically. And from those stories, wrote the script for Bruised. And then there was 4 or 5 of us from the community who were pulled together to participate in the play itself. We had 2 weeks of rehearsals. It was sort of like, hi, my name is Snake. Hi, I'm Jessica. Okay, let's go. Let's rehearse, and away we go. Yeah. So it really got pulled together very quickly, and was a huge amount of work and a tremendous success.
Well, just tell me briefly about the evening now. You had 2 evenings. One evening was solely for women,
that's right.
And one evening was for anyone within the community that was interested in dealing with these issues?
Right. The first evening, what we did is we had a play, which was about half hour, 45 minutes, followed by a panel discussion. The panel included service providers, women who were prepared to tell their stories, and other people in the community. And then there was a whole discussion that went on for a couple of hours. And the first night, the intention was to have service providers, people who work with victims of violence, to be in attendance, and the second night was just for women only. What ended up happening is that both nights were packed, mostly with just women from the community. And the impact was tremendous. People came and said, you know, after seeing this play, I recognized, you know, patterns from my own relationships that, you know, need to be worked on. Thank you for doing this, because I've had no one to tell, you know, I couldn't, or I told my friends that this was going on in my relationship, and they said, couldn't be, women don't do that. So our goal, which was to sort of break the silence around violence and abuse within lesbian relationships, was certainly achieved, and there's been the outgrowth from the play has been tremendous. There are groups starting up in Edmonton, support groups at the YWCA for lesbians who are in abusive relationships. There's a church community in Edmonton who has, because of the play, looked at the whole issue of violence and abuse, and is going to be running a group looking at how the church has participated in spiritual abuse, and all kinds of women who have been seeking out counseling, and counselors who have made themselves available free of charge to women.
It sounds like you couldn't have got a more positive response for something.
Yeah.
So, and it also sounds like you addressed a number of different levels of abuse, not just physical abuse, but also verbal abuse.
Yeah, emotional, sexual, spiritual, physical. Yeah, and one of the most exciting things for us has been, because of the response and people saying, this has been an incredible piece of work, this is so important, we need this, talking with people in other centers who said, wow, you know, we would love to have something like that happen here. We've formed a collective. We're called the Ain't That Queer, a collective for social change, and we're taking it on the road.
Excellent. And your first stop is?
Well, we're hoping Toronto. We're sort of looking at Toronto, Vancouver, Saskatoon, Winnipeg. We've got the Toronto Gay and Lesbian Community Centre has already said, we've got money, we've got time, come on down.
Excellent.
So,
excellent.
Yeah, we're pretty excited about it. So we're sort of putting that whole thing together now, looking for sponsors, trying to get some funding, and hoping
Looking for sponsors. Looking for sponsors, yes.
That's right. And looking for communities who are interested in having this play come to them, hoping that we can offer the play and some community development work, a discussion again, talking also about putting together a workshop package to work with people within the community after the play, to sort of say, now how do we organize within this community to offer support to women?
One question I want to ask you before we sort of wrap this up is the process for you as performers. What happened there? I mean, that must have been incredibly challenging.
It was very challenging. More challenging, I think, than I anticipated. Part of it was recognizing ourselves in the characters, both the abusers and the abused. That was hard.
Yeah. Much, Nick. Good luck with Ain't That Queer, and I wish the best of luck, and hopefully we'll be seeing all around southern and central Alberta. And hey, I think we've got Todd coming back.
Hey, honey.
I missed you. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Good. Hey.
I'm just so proud to be here.
So am I.
To be back with
I'm
you.
proud to be you. No, I'm proud to be me.
Okay, sure.
So you were back there chatting with Regis, I hear?
No, I was trying to, the security guard came and told me there was some insane woman at the door knocking, something about she didn't go on the Carnival cruise or something.
Oh, that Kathy. I
Anyway.
don't know. Well,
I don't know why they keep doing that.
I don't know. But you know what?
Maybe there's something we don't know about Kathy Lee Gifford.
Well,
Anyway.
on that note, you know, after defamation of character, I think we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah,
That's
I think
it.
we should
Another
say
one's
goodbye.
gone. Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us, for watching us.
Yeah. You know,
And,
I'm so glad that we had this time together. Just to
Me too. And I'm so glad we had time with you. Please join us again next time for another wild, crazy, queer edition of Program Pride.
bye.
Bye-bye.